Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for being here tonight. This is the Healer's Journey webinar. I believe we're at number 17, Thought versus Intuition. And where we're going with this is exploring into the mind a little bit. This is me. I'm Rosemary Levesque and my Gracie girl. We represent Second Nature Healing, which is natural health solutions for animals and their humans, offering Reiki classes and healing sessions and all kinds of great things. But back to thought versus intuition, I had a little trouble with the versus in there because it usually means against. And this isn't an against anything. This is how we can bring them all together. Of course, we proclaim that our information, thoughts, and ideas presented here honor your intentions to empower you with natural choices that support personal well-being. Conveyed with compassion, truth, and openness, our intention is to help you see beyond the filters of disclaimers which tend to support a one-sided approach to the health industry. And I would like to also say it's to see beyond any filter, to see beyond any claim or disclaimer. We also proclaim that we are whole, vibrant beings in physical form and maintain sovereignty to nourish, support, and empower our lives with divine gifts and a natural ability to heal. As always, we have more questions than answers. When I write these webinars for you, I always have lots of questions, and the people who call in and the people who write to me are always coming back with more questions, and I don't have all the answers, but we're going to explore these questions. The first one, what is intelligence? What is thought? And what is intuition? And of course, we'll have more than that as well. Intelligence. So intelligence is a capacity for learning. When we think of intelligence, we might think of IQ, we might think of somebody being smart. Whether they had learned a skill or not yet doesn't really matter. It's they have that capacity for learning. And intelligence also can mean that you know how to apply knowledge and skills. You use your intelligence. Intelligence can indicate an ability to reason as well, an ability to understand, and of course, an ability to assess. I would say that my dog falls into all of those categories of intelligence. She's an amazing dog, really smart, picks up on small cues and nuances. And so intelligence here, yes, she is smart. And I know if you're listening to this, whether it's a recording or live, you're wondering, who is this gal that she's talking about the intelligence of her dog? Boy, they're smart. And mammals and actually all beings are intelligent. There is a capacity for learning. Intelligence is not thought, however. It is not thought. So what is thought? You might say that thought is an idea where you can conceive of something in the mind. So something is born in the mind. It's a state of being conscious, aware, awake even. It might be a product of mental activity. So if you've got something going on in your mind, some neurons are firing, there's mental activity there, and thoughts are produced. Thoughts are created. Thoughts can also be judgments, beliefs, and ideas. So they can be pre-existing or, they can be created long before speech, even long before a child is able to speak. They have beliefs and ideas and judgment, and there's thought definitely going on. And of course, thought is also an ability to evaluate, process, and decide. So this is different than intelligence. This is more of a process and a state of being. But thought is not intuition. Absolutely not intuition. Now you might say, okay, well, I have an idea of something. Well, maybe you're touching upon intuition here a little bit, because where did that idea come from? But if it's a belief, if it's a process, if you're trying to analyze or decide something, no, thought is not intuition. And this is one of the biggest deals when I talk to people who are coming over for a session, for example, or want to do some animal communication work. Or for a person who says, I have trouble meditating. Well, all of those are true because they're thinking so much. They've got that process going on in their minds. Their minds are working, calculating, reasoning, analyzing, assessing. And they're doing all of those activities, and they're not being intuitive. They're not being quiet in their mind. So thought is definitely not intuition. So what is intuition? And why are we curious about that? Why are we spending so much time talking about intuition? Well, intuition is something that everybody really wants, right? People want to be intuitive. They want to know and understand things. They want to have a feeling about things that will help guide them a little bit so that life can be easy. We talked about this last week in our last webinar, No Limitations, where being intuitive can actually be a time saver. But intuition, what is intuition? It's an understanding without conscious reasoning. So without thought, you know something. You understand it. You get a feeling about it. It might be instinctive. It might be a sense of knowing, even if it seems irrational or not proven. And I get this a lot when I am being intuitive. I hear or see information or just know something, and it's like, I don't understand where this is coming from. I don't know what that means. I had a dog tell me last week when the mom was asking about trying to get some supplements and medications into the dog, and I was doing animal communication, and the dog said, I want beef paste. And, well, that's not part of my language. I don't talk about beef paste, right? But the dog was able to describe what she wanted by saying beef paste. Okay, well, I just said what the dog said, beef paste, and the mom was able to figure out, or we were able to try to figure out together what beef paste might be. So I was able to intuitively know what the dog was trying to communicate, even though I didn't have a clue what beef paste was, or where somebody might get that. But, we figured out it could be made, or maybe it's a baby food thing. And so she's got something to work on that her dog is willing to take and eat and use it to help take these supplements that she needs. So even though it doesn't seem rational, it's not a word or an understanding that you have, it might not be proven, it's intuition. Intuition is also a perception through the subconscious mind. So not in your thought process, not in your conscious awareness, but something that happens kind of behind the scenes, something that you get a feeling about or a knowing. It's a perception through the subconscious mind. Now there is a connection, the mind-body connection. I'm sure you've all heard of the mind-body connection. It's been studied quite a bit, written about quite a bit, and let's explore it a little bit. The thinking mind can control the body, right? So if you think about something, you might think that, boy, you would really like a glass of water. And so then you would get up and go get a glass of water. So you thought about the water and you went to get it. So the thought had an effect on the body. It gets much more complicated than that. If you've ever read Dr. Candace Pert's book, The Molecules of Emotion, that emotion can actually have physiological changes in the body, which will actually change what's happening in the body physically. So, yeah, the thinking mind also can influence emotions. So the thinking mind can control the body, and the thinking mind can influence emotions. If you think that you should be angry because of a situation, well, you could produce the emotion of anger. If you think, in other words, if there's judgment involved, if you think about, boy, this is a happy experience, well, you could feel happy. So the thinking mind can influence emotions. Emotions can also have an effect on the body, as I said with the book Molecules of Emotion by Dr. Candace Pert. Yes, absolutely. There are physiological happenings. These molecules that the cells create are in the cell membranes of every cell, and the cells talk to each other. And because of this phenomenon, the body can actually heal or not heal, depending upon what the emotions are doing and what the emotions are telling the body to do. The health of the body can affect emotions and the state of mind. If you are healthy and well, you might tend to be more positive. You might tend to be happier. If you are not healthy and well, then you might tend to be grumpier, less energy, not optimistic. And so all of these things are examples of how the mind and the body are connected, really not separate from each other at all. The mind and body are connected, and they are influenced and guided by intuition. So we talked about thoughts, and we talked about how the thoughts of the mind can influence the body, and actually vice versa. Now we bring intuition in the picture. Let's perceive intuition. How do we perceive that? Well, the first thing you have to do is get out of your thinking mind. Say it quickly. Get out of your thinking mind. If you are thinking so much, if you're thinking so hard, you're thinking of work, you're thinking of stress things, you're thinking of, oh, I have to go to this appointment, you're thinking of what you have to buy at the store, or what you're going to make for dinner, if you're thinking about who's going to call you or thinking about the paper you have to write, you're not going to perceive intuition. You have to get out of your thinking mind. The mind is actually a block to intuition. The next thing, or these aren't really in any particular order, even though they're numbered 1, 2, and so forth. The next one is to release judgment, preconceived ideas, and beliefs. Judgment, remember, we talked about as a thought process. It's something that you learn, and it's in your thinking mind. But releasing it and releasing preconceived ideas and beliefs can allow intuition to come through. It's a practice. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to make this thought decision that this is what you are going to do. You're going to let go of something. And that can require changing your habits. It might require some work to release judgment, especially if you've held on to these beliefs for a long time. It might take some time. The third one, releasing emotions. This was a big lesson for me years ago. releasing emotions in order to be intuitive. Many years ago, well, maybe not that long ago, it was 9 years ago, so I guess a long time ago, my yellow lab, Ginger, passed away. And she passed away on her own terms. She was cancer-free. We were reversing her diabetes. She had no arthritis. So at age 14, when she passed away, you can imagine how emotionally I was emotionally tied to her and her energy and her circumstances, how devastating that must have been for me to let go of a 14-year-old member of the family. And yet, my thinking mind knew that if I was sad, if I was emotionally depressed and crying about this event of losing her, then I would be missing out on the intuition of her presence. And so what did I do? The very first thing I did was to make an appointment for my own healing. And I was anxious to begin my healing process. I wasn't denying that I was sad or emotionally involved. I experienced the emotion of grief. We have to do that, right? It's part of our process. But I knew that I had to get through it quickly in order to be intuitive, in order to connect with her and her energy, in order to feel her, see her, know her presence. I was very anxious for that to happen. So I had to work on releasing emotions. The fourth thing, be receptive. Intuition is coming to us all the time. All the time. We're always getting hits. We're always getting guidance. We're always getting nudges of intuitive information. And yet, many of us are not receptive. This is why we are not so intuitive, because we have said no. We have said, no, you know what? I believe this. And I go to, whatever religious belief, temple, church thing, and I'm not diminishing that at all. It's just that if you have a very strong belief that says no, then you are not receptive to intuition. So in order to perceive intuition, you want to be receptive, and you have to work on that sometimes. You might have to say, I am open to this. Okay, so you're telling me that there is such a thing as animal guides? Okay, I'll go with that. I'll maybe learn about it a little bit. I'll be in my thinking mind. I'll read about it. I'll learn about it. I'll develop a belief about it, a judgment about it, and then I'll let that go and accept it and say, okay, I think I'm open now. I'm receptive. And next thing you know, a hawk flies by or a butterfly lands on your shoulder and you go, oh, I get it. And so being receptive can come in many, many forms, and I just used animal guides as an example of how somebody could be receptive to intuition. Trust. Trust is such a big deal because, like with the animal communication I did this past week, if I heard bean paste from the dog and I didn't trust it, and I might not say it, then, well, that's not honoring the work that I'm doing. And so in order to perceive intuition, there has to be not only receptivity, but also trust that the information that you are getting, whether it's what you see, feel, know, hear, sense in some way, taste even, that you can trust that information, that it's coming through your guides to you to be helpful. Now, I jumped kind of quickly to this next slide, and I want to go back. Let me go back to one thing about perceiving intuition. When we talk about the mind-body connection. Some people see the mind separately from the body, and we haven't even added spirit yet, mind, body, spirit, and of course we do want to add that. But this mind-body connection is so important in talking about together rather than separate. We want to use the word wholeness right here, right now, wholeness. And we've used this word before very early on in the webinars, wholeness. The idea that things can be whole, or that they are whole, they are perfect when they work together. We are spiritual beings that are embodied in physical form. And so because we have a spiritual aspect and we have a physical aspect, it means that we're all one. We're all one together. We can't be just a spiritual body. We can't be just a physical body. We can't just be a thinking mind or even an intuitive mind. We have to be all one. And so whenever we're considering working with intuition, we have to understand that we are mind, we are thinking minds, we are intuitive minds, we are feeling bodies, physical bodies, and we are spiritual beings. It all works together, and so we can't separate them. And I spend so much time talking about intuition because it feels to me like this is the practice that people want to develop. They want the skills, they want the knowledge, they want the knowing, the feeling. They want to have the experience of being intuitive and developing their intuitive gifts. And so this has become an important mission for me, is to say, well, I know how to do that. Let me teach you, let me show you. And I love doing that. I love showing you the possibilities. It's very rewarding to me when somebody says, wow, you know, I took this class and this happened, or I read this that you recommended and this happened. One of our students in our Illumination Reiki class said that she went to her appointment and she has an osteopathic physician that she goes to help repair some injury that she's experienced, brain injury and trauma in her body. And so before she went into her appointment, she used some of the things we taught her in the Illumination Reiki class, went into her appointment and asked her physician if she noticed anything different. And the physician said, well, as a matter of fact, you are filled with golden light. And so I hear that and I'm cheering, right? Because it worked. It worked because of her belief, her receptivity, her trust, her release of emotions and judgment and preconceived ideas and beliefs. And she got out of her thinking mind and utilized some skills and knowledge that she learned. She integrated the energy that she was given in a very unique attunement. She's a stunning student and just really happy that she is stepping into this energy of not just learning the stuff, but using the stuff for self-healing. So it was visible to her physician, who was also intuitive, to say, wow, you're filled with golden light. Wouldn't you like to meet people who are filled with golden light? Wouldn't you like to see that in yourself? Wouldn't you like to know that you are illuminated? So as a healer on the healer's journey, you have all kinds of possibilities open to you. Everything is open. If you are receptive, if you do let go, if you release, if you clear out, and you get out of your thinking mind and trust, then it's all yours. Just learn the skills, do the practice. It's all yours. So I'd love to be a part of all of that when it comes time for you to make your choices. We have coming up this weekend a couple of things. Saturday is our third day of the first series of Illumination Reiki. That's for people who are already in the program. But Sunday is our sensory intuition workshop. I'm very excited about this because we, my daughter and I, have been teaching apprentice classes and workshops for many years, but never before have we put them together like this, with the sole purpose of having people develop their intuitive abilities. It is intended for everybody. You don't have to be attuned to Reiki. You don't have to be of a particular belief. It doesn't matter what your training is, if you're doing it for professional training or for personal self-healing, it doesn't matter. We just want all of the doors to be open for people to have this experience, and it's just beautiful. I can't wait to see how people receive the Sensory Intuition Apprentice Program. Illumination Reiki, we're still beyond and over the moon about our Illumination Reiki class. It's proving to be so effective and so beautiful. We will mention it in every webinar because we love it, and we're really glad that it's here. We do teach in the Illumination Reiki classes, there's beginning and then there's advanced. So we do teach traditional Usui Tibetan Reiki classes. We've always done that. We will always do that. We also have advanced levels of Reiki training, like Karuna Reiki, and Illumination Reiki classes for specific levels of knowledge and skills. And of course, the Sensory Intuition Apprentice class, which is open to everybody. And all of these classes are focused on both aspects, for personal growth and for professional practice. People, some people will take a class and that's all they'll do, and they only want it for their dog, or they only want it for themselves or for their mother-in-law or whatever. Perfect. That's fine. I want Reiki in every home. That's one of my goals. Reiki in every home. Everybody needs to be consciously aware of the choices they're making and be open to intuition and be open to the flow of energy. I think that would be great if everybody did that. So yes, do that. And then some people say, I would like to learn more. I would like to do this kind of work for other people. Okay, now you are more than a person who is healing themselves. You are offering your skills, knowledge, abilities, talents, and gifts to other people. And that is also beautiful. We welcome everybody in our Illumination Reiki series of classes. Now, I always ask this, where will your path lead you? Have you thought about it? Have you journaled about it? What's going on in your life that feels really good? What's going on in your life that you feel you could release or let go of? I love hearing from you. I love hearing about the connections you're making. I love hearing about the journey you're on and the choices that are happening and the opportunities that are coming your way. I love that. Send me an email and let me know what is going on in your life and where your path feels like it's leading you. And of course, the best way to reach me is through my website, secondnaturehealing.com. You can also visit illuminationreiki.com. It is live. We're still working on it and building that. You can email me, Rosemary, at secondnaturehealing.com. Of course, if you are not registered for the Healer's Journey webinar, you can easily do that. Just go to secondnaturehealing.com/webinar. It'll get you there. You can add your name to the list, and all of these webinars will be sent to you directly, and you'll receive them in your inbox where you can click the link and watch the videos. So just a very quick thank you. Really appreciate you being here tonight and would love to hear from you. All right. Good night. Have a good night.